King Nazaru would like to know. Number one, would you agree that no, Lord? Would you agree that Sasuke Uchiha is the anime equivalent of Superboy Prime and that they're both overpowered and why? Okay, yada yada. I wouldn't say that just because I don't really know much about Superboy Prime, so I can't agree to that. Number two, who do you think the people who are working on the God of War movie should do to make it? What do you think the people who are working on the God of War movie should do to make it a success? Don't make it. I don't know. I honestly don't know of any way that it's going to be a success. It doesn't translate well to film, honestly. I mean, it seems like it should, but it's just some of the over-the-top stuff that they have Kratos doing. And then, depending on who they pick to play him, it's just going to get awkward. A lot of people have made some very weird casting choices, and there have actually been some very strange choices rumored for the part, and I just don't know. So in the end, I really don't know how they're going to make it a success, and it's in development hell because of that. So, why is Marvel trying so hard to destroy Spider-Man? Honestly, to promote Iron Man. It's why Iron Man now leads multiple Avengers teams as opposed to Captain America, who used to lead. It's why Iron Man just joined the Guardians of the Galaxy, and Marvel's actually asking, do you think he should become the leader? They're really trying to pimp out Iron Man because marketability. They really want the characters' movies to do well, which they want to cycle back into comic sales. The problem is it doesn't really work in the comics because unlike the Iron Man from the films, the Iron Man in the comics was essentially quasi-Hitler for a while, and people won't just forget that, and so there's a lot of backlash there too. When did you realize Naruto had gotten so bad it was beyond saving? After I watched the filler, and then started watching Shippuden, and then got past the first arc, and after that it was just all downhill. But I especially noticed, I hated Sai, I really did, but I especially noticed it when Naruto and Sasuke met up again for the first time, and Sasuke literally tried to kill Naruto, and two people got injured trying to protect him, and Naruto actually took that as a sign that Sasuke still wanted him to save him. And yeah, this video is definitely 2 parts, it's already... Okay. Shiny Mew 788. Oh wait, I skipped a question. I'll come back to yours in a second. Okay, Shiny Mew 788 wants to know, in your opinion, which DBZ movies had a good argumentative case to being canon, i.e. the BoJack movie? None. Because even though they could arguably have happened within the timeline, there's just certain things that happen in the film itself that just really don't jive with the canon in terms of character development and character behavior. If you want to know which ones I think arguably could fit without too much contradiction, and I can't explain how, one would be Dead Zone, specifically because Goku never actually refers to Gohan as his son, to Krillin, at least in the Japanese dub. So it wasn't necessarily out of place for Krillin to assume that that had just been a kid he was looking out for. There was also the fact that they were in the middle of a very chaotic battle. So there's that. It's a little sketchy, but it could arguably fit. I do know for a fact that Cooler's Revenge was supposed to be set during the 3 years training period for the androids. So you could argue that it could fit, and you could argue that Gohan's tail grew back one final time. And you could argue that the dragon, well, that kind of hurts the argument there, but, you know, whatever. BoJack Unbound, a lot of people like to say it practically is, but it isn't, especially in terms of Gohan's development, and so there's that. Honestly, there's not really a single one that can actually fit. And I know a lot of people like to point to the fact that Bardock and Trunks are canon, but they're not movies, they're TV specials. And I heard that the new one is more likely than not canon. That would not surprise me, honestly, considering all the people they brought in to work on it again. So, I don't know. See what happens there. But honestly, the only one that I think you could make a decent case for being canon was Wrath of the Dragon. And even that's kind of... So, you know. Okay, going back to King Nazar's final question. Do you think Ocean Dub fans that hate DBZ Kai will praise it and thus become hypocrites if it's done by Ocean? Ocean's not doing it anymore, for all intents and purposes, or at least it doesn't seem like it. Would seem to be rather counterproductive, especially since their distribution rights for the UK, at least, were more or less revoked because Funimation's dub is currently airing in the UK. So, you know. They definitely wouldn't have exclusivity anymore, and I'm sure they might have moderate success if it came out, but I don't know if it would actually justify the cost of doing it. And they just wound up in like a development hell for the series, and apparently the actors weren't even liking what they were trying to get done already for whatever reason, and I don't know. I don't think it'll actually happen at this point. I really don't. But who knows? But yeah, they would more or less be hypocrites. Especially since they're picking on Kai for still changing things, which is hilarious because it's closer than ever. And yet they like a dub that literally altered things and then they defend the alterations. So, you know, they're already hypocrites. Stoner Crazy Clips 222 asks thoughts on Teen Titans and the remake. I'm not really a fan of Teen Titans, so I can't really speak on that. Thoughts on Yu Yu Hakusho and various story arcs, better than DBZ. I haven't seen Yu Yu in years, man, so to offer any kind of analysis on them in depth, I wouldn't really be able to do that at this point. I need to watch it again to refresh my memory. But I honestly don't think it's that much better than Dragon Ball Z. In fact, I don't think it's better. But it's definitely good. It's really good. I do like it. And superhero movies becoming too mainstream. I honestly am glad that they became mainstream. I am, because it's definitely provided their faithful representations. It introduces these people to these characters, and I love it. What I hated was when they weren't mainstream. And by that what I mean is when they were so few and far between that we got into a state where we were just glad to get a movie regardless of how good or bad it was. And unfortunately, Spider-Man came in during that time period, which is why so many people seem to think it's so amazing, even though it was grossly inaccurate. And for some ridiculous reason, people think it nailed it, even though it was absolutely nothing like Spider-Man, or his villains, or Mary Jane, or etc. And now that we finally got one, unfortunately, because of that stigma of what came first always being better, which is not always the case. Example, the movie Dawn of the Dead. Arguably the remake was a better film in terms of pacing and everything than the original. But because of that meme, the new one gets bashed. And honestly, even if the next Batman movie that comes out is literally the precise Batman from the comics, people are probably going to say it's crap compared to Nolan's movies, which will have nailed it. So, excuse me. Moving on. Mr. Vegeta 360. Number one, who are the top 5 worst Kai haters? I don't keep tabs on them. I don't keep a list. If you mean the most irrational, I can point you to pretty much every Ocean fan on the internet and Doug8798. So, yeah. Do you think that when Kai shows the Boo Saga, they should use the BGM other than the Kikuchi score? Okay. Do I think they should use a different score? Honestly, no. It would just be awkward that they had to go ahead and remove the Yamamoto score and then place that in, and then they're gonna have a whole new, another modern score after that. They should just stick with it, honestly, and fix the placement issues. Because there are places where the music seems out of place. Honestly, there are some places though where they swap music where I don't really mind it, and I do think it actually still works. But you know, it could be better. It doesn't kill the series like some people like to say it does, not even close. But you know, it could be better, and thankfully now that there's more time though, because they don't have to kind of shove it in after, you know, to avoid a lawsuit, it should by default be better. And who knows, maybe when the whole series is done, they'll fix the placement and re-release the entire series with proper music placement. Who knows? Okay, and do you like the animated Batman movies more than the live-action films? Honestly, yeah, for the most part. There are some animated movies I don't like either. So, you know, it's kind of give or take. But overall, yeah, I've thought the animated movies were better than the live action films. And one more question. Well, two more questions. Okay, one favorite animated manga. I kind of answered this, but I didn't. It's definitely a tie between Dragon Ball / Dragon Ball Z and Parts Hunter. Yeah, it's an official tie now, honestly, and who knows, that could yet change. But and two, I think you said Sword Art Online is overrated. The question is, why would you call it overrated? Okay, I do think it's really good. I do, and I don't think it's nearly as bad as a lot of people say it is. I see a lot of people freaking out over certain things that are actually prevalent in a lot of anime that I've actually seen them like, which kind of makes me roll my eyes at the hypocrisy of that. And I've honestly seen a lot of people who are upset because there aren't as many battles as they thought there were, and it's a drama, so it's going to be primarily drama and not primarily battles. So to criticize it for like skipped fights or short fights or whatever, no, I'm not gonna consent to that. But I also don't think it's the greatest thing in the world like some people do, and I do think that it has a fan base that does like to overhype it and put it up on a pedestal higher than it ought to be. So I'm not gonna necessarily say that overrated doesn't mean that it's bad though. A lot of people seem to think when I say something's overrated, I mean it's bad. No. I do think it's good. I just don't think it's as good as some people make it out to be. There are flaws in it, and I really, really, really wish that they'd continue the anime. Hopefully they will. They still might. Because a lot of what doesn't make sense in part 1 would make sense if a part 2 got completed, because it kind of comes full circle there. People need to realize that this is actually adapted from a series of light novels, and the light novels are great too. So there's that. But yeah, it's a tad overrated, but it's not bad at all, if that's what you're wondering. Okay, and that does it for this time. And yeah, I have no doubt people are gonna hold me to it. Now I get to do videos on all parts of Joy. So I guess I better make sure I'm read up and have it fresh in my mind. And that is it for now. And I will see you guys later. I hope that answered some of your questions.